What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You are back watching Pepe La View. I'm yours truly, Pepe. And that's right, this is part two of covering Maxine Jones of In Vogue. That's right, you heard it correctly. Maxine Jones of In Vogue, not formerly of In Vogue, but of In Vogue. I said I can say it. Maybe she can't say it, but I can say it. And it's not a diss. It's just simply I am a fan of the In Vogue brand. So to me, you're a member. It doesn't matter what's going on in the camp. You're a member. You're a member. You're a member. That's right. And so, as I said in the previous video, part one, is December the 26th, and it's Christmas is gone, and I know I need to be in the bed, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to go. I wanted to continue to, cover some stories that I wanted to cover over here at Pepe La View, and I'm doing a series on R&B divas of the 1980s. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I decided I wanted to talk about Maxine Jones of In Vogue. That's right, strictly Maxine Jones of In Vogue. And if you watch part one, then you know I stopped. I stopped at the top of Don't Let Go Love. Like, the ladies have just released Don't Let Go Love, and I was hearing about breakup rumors during the acceptance of the Runaway Love Award at the American Music Awards. The very next day, I started hearing on, particular radio stations that In Vogue had actually broke up, even though Cindy and Maxine are at home making Terry and Dawn aunts. I believe it was aunts. It could have been mothers. But anyway, still the same thing, whether aunts or mothers, it was pretty much taking place. So anyway, so that's what's happening. So there are definitely some things going on in the In Vogue camp, but this is not about gossip as much as it is about just paying tribute to Maxine Jones. That's what I wanted to do. Pay tribute to her because she has definitely become my favorite member of In Vogue. And it's not because of anything malicious towards the other ladies. It's just that, she went from being, as I've always said, just a member in the group of voice four, or 1/4 of In Vogue, to being, lead with the Funky Divas record. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like, once the dynamic shift, it was like the ladies of In Vogue, for whatever reason, Maxine was not put out in the forefront again. And as I said, it is what it is. And not only that, Maxine of In Vogue, she's definitely one of the people who goes by the motto that we have over here at Pepe La View, and that is to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And our lovely Maxine Jones is definitely doing that. She's definitely putting her behind where her heart desires to be. And of course, there are some things that have, come up that has tried to prevent her from doing that. The business is what it is. And, sometimes, when you're trying to play fair and you think other people have integrity such as yourself, and sometimes that's not the case. And so it is what it is, but she's definitely finding her footing. I have a publishing company called Hind's Feet, and I'm pretty sure that my Heavenly Father up above is also giving our dear Maxine Jones of In Vogue over there some hind feet. Okay? Yes, we pray that Maxine Jones, she has some hind feet over there, So anywho, so moving right along. So they released the EV3 record, and Dawn is gone. She's gone. And for anybody out there, I'm not talking much about anyone else. I'm trying to keep this strictly for Maxine. And I have to say, I was kind of disappointed. I like the EV3 record, but here's what happened, I think. I'm thinking that Dawn gone, right? She's gone. She's no longer in the group. So that's an issue with people who are fans of In Vogue, like it or not. And then Tommy and Denny are not producing on this record as much. So I think that that's the issue. I think that's the issue that we have within the In Vogue camp, is that these three individuals, Dawn, Tommy, and Denny, are not there. And it's just what it is. Say what you want to, but Tommy and Denny brings a certain flavor to In Vogue, and Dawn brings a certain flavor to In Vogue, and it just works. Okay, even if it worked for what do you want to call it? For the Don't Let Go Love record, but Don't Let Go record, Don't Let Go Love is just a great song. It is what it is. It's just a great song. And I would like to think that anybody who recorded that record was going to have a hit. And the gentleman who wrote and produced the record, as well as the female, Adrian Martin is their name, or Andrea Martin. It was just a great record. Now, say people are feeling themselves, feeling their fame, coming to awareness that maybe they're not getting what they should get and they're demanding X, Y, and Z. I think at this moment in time, the only thing I can think of is that the ladies of In Vogue, as well as the producers, did not really see that maybe we need to handle this fairly and correctly. But, it's show business. And, all it takes is one person to feel a certain kind of way and everything else just kind of goes downhill. I try to be mindful even of what I do over here at People I View. When I'm covering someone, I have to keep in mind that we're dealing with real people and real people feel a certain kind of way. So I also like to keep that in mind. And that's why for me, I try to stick to what I know they said or what was put in print as far as their interviews. And then I kind of read between the lines that way. But as far as being just totally malicious to someone and being totally disrespectful, nah, my mama didn't raise no fool. So anyway, so it is what it is. So Maxine is not at the forefront. I was so disappointed. Even if the songs that were intended for Dawn, even if the songs that were intended for Dawn, someone else had to sing, like I Want to Be Your Lover and Don't Let Go Love and whatever other songs that they had to take her vocals off of. They had to let them, they had to redo them. And I have to be honest with how I see it. And that is that when I hear the single Whatever, I'm going to be quite frank with you, even though it was a Babyface song, I'm saying to myself, like, all Babyface did was copy Tommy and Denny. They didn't do anything different. They did the same similar background vocals as they did with My Lovin'. They stylized the song pretty much in the same way, and they played it very safe when it came to In Vogue with the Whatever single. I don't know if that had to be, a Sylvia Rome thing where she basically said, okay, this is the kind of sound in the song that I want, and that's what they did. I mean, I just can recall listening to that single saying to myself, like, Babyface did not hook these ladies up at all. I can understand another member of the group saying, well, hey, we're going to go with the Babyface song, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And in your mind, you say to yourself, yes, we're going to go with the Babyface song because Babyface, I mean, he's a hit maker. This is going to be a guaranteed hit. And if I recall correctly, it went to number 8 on the pop and the R&B charts. Was that the single or was that the album? Well, let me see. What does it say? Sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to figure out what it said on the charts. But I remember something going to number 8 on both of the charts. But I still recall saying to myself, it was just a lazy attempt. It was lazy attempt that they didn't try to do anything different. And yeah, it was the album. The album. So what did the single do? Oh, okay. So the single is number 8 on the R&B charts, and it's number 16 on the pop charts. Still a hit, regardless of however you want to call it. I mean, it was a hit. It looked like it was a hit all over the place. But anywho, as I said, it didn't hook them up, considering what Babyface had done for other groups, considering what Babyface had did for. Oh, I never thought about that. Gosh, I never thought about Babyface working with In Vogue, and they had worked with TLC. Would you see that as kind of like a rival? Would would Babyface really want to give In Vogue a hit that's bigger than TLC? Which lets me know that they tried to definitely stay within that In Vogue sound, is probably what he did. Now I'm thinking, oh, you see, I told y'all that's just how my mind think. Now I'm thinking about the fact that Babyface worked with them, and I wanted In Vogue to be on their way to Excel soundtrack. So it seemed like them working with Babyface it was ideal and should have happened. But anyway, moving right along. So they do that, and I'm saying to myself, like, oh my gosh, like Babyface just totally messed them up. Then they come out with what's the name of the record? The Diane Warren song, Too Gone Too Long. And again, I'm saying to myself, I mean, Max, you know, she's back. Max is singing like she's back in the groove with Too Gone Too Long, and I'm thinking that everything is good. You know, I'm just a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed that Maxine did not have the breakout song she should have had, even though I like the song Right Direction on that record. Again, Right Direction, EV3, Time Goes On, with Born to Sing. I can see how they're trying to keep her within the sound and the message theme. So that's great. I think that's great that they're doing that. But again, I think that that's the problem that we're having with In Vogue. The problem we're having with In Vogue is that, you know, I think it looked like the latest of In Vogue with the EV3 record was just trying to find their way through all of this and tried their best to make sense of all of it, and still in their egos at the same time, from my understanding. You know, not saying that that's where they were. But I was the one who rushed out and got the record again. And I have to say, the In Vogue feel that I had kind of faded away. You know, it was like, okay. I started looking at In Vogue as just another one of the girl groups, you know, who was out there. I didn't see any choreography from them. The videos I did like. The songs, I was like, oh, okay. I just don't, I didn't get the same feel that I had with Don't Let Go Love. And I think that that was it. You can say it could have been Dawn leaving, or it could have been the fact that Tommy and Denny didn't produce the whole record. You can say a whole lot of things, but let's just be real. I don't think after the Don't Let Go Love single, I just don't think that there was another hit record on there. Now, I like to think I Want to Be Your Lover, and I'm not using the first word in it just because I'm going to upload this later. But I wanted to say, you know, I Want to Be Your Lover was probably the next best song to release. But from my understanding, Dawn was to sing that record. And when that didn't happen, Terry sung the lead on it. And again, I still don't understand why they didn't release that record. I just don't understand, but it is what it is. So, from my understanding, Sylvia Rome was about to lay out all kinds of things for them, and it didn't happen. I think that I believe that if I remember correctly, there was like this world tour or whatever that was planned for them, and I think it was canceled because of low ticket sales. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that. But anyway, and then Masterpiece Theater is released. And I have to tell you, I was disappointed again. I was disappointed when Masterpiece Theater was released because, again, it was like they're reaching. And they was reaching with that single, Riddle. I was like, that's when I had enough. I had enough because my loving, as big as it was, I loved it. I still do to this day. Then Babyface come in with whatever, and I'm like, you're copying my loving. Like, it's nothing new. And then they come out with Masterpiece Theater with Riddle that copied my loving. Like, I'm saying to myself, like, what are y'all doing? Now, from my understanding, now I could be wrong, but from what I gather, that was Riddle was the last song that they had on that they recorded for Masterpiece Theater, and it was because Sylvia was saying they needed another record. Now, I've always said that Tommy and Denny, when it came to Sylvia Wrong, protected these ladies from her. That's my say so. I say it. I think at the end of the day, once Sylvia was able to, get her hands on the group, and I don't mean it in a negative way. I just mean like once she was able to call the shots. So when Tommy and Denny was told that they need another record and they went in and did Riddle or something like that, and she accepted it, blah, 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 it was downhill from there. Like Sylvia could have, Tommy and Denny at that moment in time said, well, we can't tell her no, because, it's not our baby like that anymore. Like it's her baby. They're no longer tied to us like that. So saying no this time could be an issue. So she drops them. Like, just drops them. It's just what it is. So I like Masterpiece Theater, though. I like the record. I like the concept. I thought it was going to be great. I don't understand why they released Riddle and not the other singles on there, because from my understanding, I think they had like this concept in mind. I like I said, I really and truly do think that was the record that was going to be the one that put them back. But I don't know, self-sabotaging. And I'm talking about the entire camp, at this moment in time. And so Max leaves the group. I want to go into my being and I want to look at my credits on the record. I should have did that earlier, because if I'm not mistaken, I do remember the credits on this record when it came down to the liner notes, the thank yous. I could be wrong, but I think Max, now I know everybody talk about the picture of Max, and I did. I remember looking at that picture saying to myself, like, what? Max, why the hell are you looking like this? Like, come on, Max. Like, really? To me, Max looked like a Barbie doll. Like, she did not look real. She looked like a Barbie doll. But anywho, I remember the thank yous that came from Max was, if I remember correctly, it was let everything that had breath praise the Lord. Now, when I read that, I said to myself, she is not thanking anybody. Like, Maxine must be totally tired. And next thing I know, I look up, she's gone. She's gone. And I think this is where we're going to start talking more about Max. She's gone. We don't know why she left the group. I don't really know why. I've heard things as in, well, there was no, I don't know why she initially left the group, but she left. Then she came back into the group, and it was a wonderful, pleasant surprise. I think at this moment, I'm just going to be all over the place, as it relates to her on this part, because at one point in time, she comes back, they try to make it work, and she leaves again. But I think this time when she leaves, because, well, let's look and see. Let me get my years right then. How about that? Y'all bear with me, because like I said, I was just up. And I just wanted to pay tribute to my favorite female R&B diva in the group. Members. So let's see. So she's in the group from 1989 all the way to 2001. That's when Masterpiece Theater was released. Then she comes back in 2005-ish, right? So she comes back. Like, if I understand correctly, she comes back around 2004, 5-ish. because, well, I guess she comes back. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's back. And she's back, and that means if she's back, Rona is in the group, right? So she comes back, y'all. This is where I might not have everything correctly. So those of you who are watching at this moment in time, you can put in the credits. I won't feel bad. The comments and correct me, right? But she's in the group. I see her performing with them. I see that Terry and Cindy are struggling. And when I say struggling to try to find their way through this, because I see them still together, still performing. I think that they appear on some records as just a duo, Terry and Cindy. It is what it is. They continue to do it like that. And then Maxine shows up. She's there in the group. She has to be there with Rona. It is what it is. And they're performing. And I guess she's in the group. And then Dawn, see, I need Serge. If I had Serge here with me, he can make sense of this. So apparently Dawn comes back. So Dawn has to come back around 2005, right? So Dawn comes back in 2005. That means Rona is no longer in the group. So then we have the original 4 in 2005. Is that correct? So they try to do a comeback. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the one that I'm like, whoa, because I think they're in Jet Magazine at the time. And they're doing the comeback, this, then the other, blah, blah, blah. And I do know from my understanding, the business side of everything, it falls through. Let's just say it this way. The latest, whatever is going on in the En Vogue camp in 2005 with the original 4 members, it falls through. I'm not quite sure what Maxine was doing between 2001 and 2003. Is what it is. She's spending time with family and living life and not trying to deal with the drama of this En Vogue thing. So she comes back. Now, I do recall, if I'm not mistaken, that Cindy is having a baby again. And I think Maxine comes back at one point in time to fill in for Cindy, because now it's Cindy, Terry, and Rona. But then Max comes in as the replacement for Cindy. And that's when I see them on that show. What's the name of that show? It's some kind of like show. I can't remember, but it's Max, Terry, and Cindy. And that's when I realize and understand what's going on vocally. And the sound that I'm missing is Max's voice. I'm like, wow, it's Max's voice that we're missing. It's not so much Dawn. So now we have that coming into play. And I'm like really and truly becoming more appreciative of Maxine, because I understand now, and and I'm happy that I discovered this, because it's kind of like, oh, Max, we don't eat you either, so to speak. And that's what the fans is probably looking at too as well. It's kind of like, oh, well, Max is out the picture. And it's like it is what it is. And that's another thing that I dislike about, all of this. But anyway, moving right along. So then Max leaves, right? Max has to go. Well, when I say has to go, I mean she's gone. So Max is in the group. She stays in the group all that time. Yes, she does. So Max is in the group, from 2004 all the way up to 2012, maybe? So she's back in the group, and the group is trying to find their footing again, right? Whatever the issue is, Max is back. They're trying to find their footing with Max and the other ladies, Terry, Cindy, and Dawn, and business just isn't right. They have these opportunities that does come up, but it just kind of falls through. It just doesn't quite work for them. Now, behind the scenes, people are faulting certain people for certain things. But what I like to think, and this is just my opinion, there's already a wedge that has been drawn between these ladies. and it looks like it's Terry and Cindy and Dawn and Maxine, and it looks like it has been that way since the very beginning, for sure, on the Funky Divas record. Because if I show you the Funky Divas record, as far as it's the My Loving single, if you see the way these ladies placed on that album cover, it makes you wonder that they split these ladies up like that. And then on the album cover, I always said to myself, and this is just me pulling, it's not truth. It's just me pulling stuff out the air. And I'm saying to myself, like, why is Terry and Cindy like hooked like that? As if they're like soul sisters and we're tight and we're in, and the other ladies and Dawn and Maxine, they're not, they don't have each other's arms like that. So I always kind of wonder what that was all about. But anyway, moving right along from this. So they're back, things fall through for the ladies. And now what Max is leaving the group, Max has left the group. Now, if I'm not mistaken, because it's 2012, this is when things kind of get interesting. Because Rona is not in the group, right? No, she's not. Rona is not in the group. When is Rona not in the group? Oh, where's Serge? Rona is not in the group if the ladies get together in 2005. I want to say there has to be a time when Terry, Cindy, Max, and Rona are in a group together for a certain period of time. Is that from 2006 to 2008? Because then Dawn leaves. Dawn is in the group in 2005. She comes back in 2008. Rona leaves in 2008. So in 2008 is when the original four are together again. So they're together for about 3 or 4 years as the original four. And then Dawn leaves in 2011. So if Dawn leaves in 2011, she leaves, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's when they get the Rough Town deal with Renee Moore. And Dawn, is this when Dawn is saying, okay, I've been in a group, I toured with you guys, but I'm not signing the contract? Then Dawn ends up leaving, and then they bring Rona back in 2012. So then in 2012, Max leaves the group. And this is where I'm going to focus on. So Max leaves the group in 2012. I'm hearing people say, or I've heard rather, well, I've read in publications that Max said that she left the group because their manager is getting them work for Terry and Cindy, but not for her. I heard out of Cindy's mouth, right? It was Cindy, not Terry. It was Cindy. I think Cindy saying that, well, if Max wants to have her own manager, she can have her own manager. That's just her business. She can have her own manager. But if she had her own manager, then we're not going to pay that out of the En Vogue's money, which is understandable. But my thing is this. This is when everything starts to get kind of complicated for me, because I'm saying to myself, this is just me. I'm saying, like, well, if Max is saying that the manager is getting work to Terry and Cindy and not her, well, if Max has her own manager and her own manager has found her some work, then Terry and Cindy probably would come up with reasons for Dawn not to do any of the outside stuff that would bring her in money, because it's more like, we don't want you to do that, so we'll just do that to spite her. Like, well, no, we got to go over here and perform, or we got to go do this and this, that, and other. How you going to do that when we got to go do this? And I can just see, you don't need me lying. I done dealt with people before. I can see just people, like, I can see them coming up with something to do just so Max couldn't do it. I'm just saying, you know how people are. And so I'm just basing it off that. So I think at this moment in time, Max is just saying, well, you know what? I done had enough of this. I'm out the door. And Terry and Cindy is like, hey, we got these shows coming up. We calling you. Are you going to show up? Max doesn't respond, so we're gonna go ahead on and give him to Rona. Rona gonna fill in. And so now what we have with Max is that we have Max in 2000 and what? 2012 all the way up to now. So we have her in 2012 and we are in 2022, right? It is 2022. Are we in 2022? Yeah. We're almost about to enter 2023. So we have her pretty much, it's been 11 years. Oh, it's been 10 years because it's 2020 to 2012. So it's been 10 years. And so what we have now with Max, and I guess we can start talking about the new stuff, the, not your freak stuff and all that stuff. Maxine putting her behind where her heart desires to be. That's what we have. We have her doing that. We have her at the same time saying, wait a minute, I'm going to fight for what I know I contributed to this group. And she goes in and she sues. And they have an arbitrator. If I understand correctly, there's an arbitrator in this. And the arbitrator at the arbitration, I've heard several things. I've read several things. From my understanding is that when it came down to the appeal that Max, went and appealed the decision that the arbitrator had in favor of Terry and Cindy, is that somewhere or another, I remember reading that, well, Maxine didn't take any notes, so she didn't have anybody doing any dictation in the during the their arbitration. Not quite sure what that's all about, but let's just say she didn't. I also, from my understanding, recall Max saying, well, hey, I'm not trying to take anything from them, but I know I work for this too. So I'm saying I deserve this just as much as they do. That's what I heard, that part as well. And so when you think about it in just thinking about it, when you have things documented as far as her name being on the songs, is copywritten and all of that stuff, you would automatically think at the end of the day that that's a sure win. You would think that. But it just never, like I said, came down to that. And I think for myself, it didn't come down to that with her winning in arbitration is simply because, or in appeals, is because of the politics of all of it, and that she played fair. I want all of us to be able to do it because this just seemed like it's the fair thing to do. And well, as I said, it just didn't work out that way in her favor. And then there was a period of time where, and this is what's in the in media. Then after that, I kind of like, oh my gosh, Maxine, the next thing I see, she's on TMZ and it's pretty much saying that she has filed for bankruptcy, So I was like, wow. So she had that issue that's going on. And of course you have En Vogue to the max. And I this is me personally, En Vogue to the max, I'm still rooting for her. I'm like, you know what, Max, you can do this. I'm saying to myself, and I'm seeing that it's not the same En Vogue. Another thing that I'm noticing when it came down to the En Vogue, and this is just me, En Vogue to the max, I figured that Max will probably try to take lead in that because these are three ladies who you are allowed to be in your territory. That's what I'm saying to myself, You got these ladies coming into your stuff, Maxine. And it looked like to me she took a back seat to that, even to that. She didn't take the lead even in that. And that's just probably, who she is, the kind of person she is that, well, it's what it is, I didn't sing lead on Hold On, or I didn't sing lead on this. So, we get girls to do this, then the other, because I just know my place and my part in all of this. But anyway, so end up not being able to use En Vogue to the max. And well, I always wondered what that was about, because I would think she could use the song the name En Vogue to the max. It didn't totally infringe on En Vogue because, well, or did it? I don't think it did, but that's just me, again, my own personal opinion about all of that. Well, so now we're moving right along to go through the appeals. It came, I don't even know if they actually heard the case. Did they hear the case? I don't think they did. But anyway, the appeal was denied, so on and so forth, and they kept moving on with it, and Max kept working. Now, there were some songs that came up that I heard Maxine working on, and I was really rooting for her. I like Did I was like, okay, wow, she's doing that. I can remember that, she was out and about and promoting Didn't I? And I was like, okay, she's getting there. She's doing it. And it just, I guess it just never popped off for her the way she expected it to do, the single, Didn't I? And so I'm still following her career, and I'm looking at her do other things, and I'm saying to myself, like, oh, okay, I think she was in a play. She was in a play. I think she was in a play. Was she in a play? And all this stuff is on the top of my head, you guys, so just bear with me. I think she was in a play. She was in a play with the Patty Pie guy, wasn't she? I can't think of the name of the play, but it was the Patty Pie guy, and they were in a play. What's the name of that play? Oh, I don't know the name of that play. What was the guy name? Is the guy named James? Yes, his name is James Wright. His name is James Wright. What's the name of that play? What is the name of that play? Just bear with me. I can't think of the name of the play. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know, but it was a musical or some kind of play. But anyway, I remember them being in a play. I saw that being promoted. Sorry about that. So she was in a play, I believe, and she was working on new material. I was looking forward to that. And this is when I started finding out some interesting things about Maxine. I didn't know that Maxine Jones was actually related to Sybil. I didn't know that. I didn't know Maxine Jones was related to Sybil. So as I don't know what I was doing one day. I don't know what I was doing, but it had to be something that I was looking up about Sybil. And I found out that Maxine Jones was related to Sybil. And so, of course, I'm in this group called, I'm a member, rather, of this Facebook page called In Vogue Craze. And so I'm in there, and Max's now business partner, business manager, Brian. So he's commenting on something. And so I sent a quick message to him. I said, I'm hearing that Maxine is related to Sybil. And he was like, yeah, she was related to Sybil. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the coolest thing ever. Like the coolest thing ever for her to be related to Sybil. I just never knew, she was related to Sybil. But anyway, moving right along from that. So she's trying to find her footing with everything, and things seem to not work out for her the way that it should have. But I think the good part about it is that she continues to go for it, and she continues to not be bothered by, all of the foolishness that is in vogue and the business things that are happening. Yes, she and Dawn tried to do the heirs of the throne. That didn't quite work out. Of course, Dawn has talked about that, so that it's not, what I want to do here. My thing is basically just trying to make some sense of this Maxine Jones thing. That's what I'm doing. And so now she went from releasing Didn't I? And then here we are to Not Your Freak with Big Freedia. But that wasn't the first record she did. There's There's another record, something about Have Mercy on Me. She did with a rapper, this guy rapper, and I love it. It's definitely an Oakland sound. It's definitely a California sound. With the song called Have Mercy on Me. I like that a lot. And Max looked real good in that too. I mean, she was great looking in that video. Um, and there's a guy. What's the guy name? George. George something. Is it George? She does a rendition of Don't Let Go Love with this guy. I think he's from Europe, some part of Europe. But anyway, she covers a song with him, Don't Let Go Love. Let me find out. Y'all, I'm sorry. It is what it is. I apologize. It's what it is. I'm doing it because I want to do it. It's what it is. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in, and turning on over here. Because that's what we're doing. George Gold in 2017. She does Don't Let Go Love, a remake. And then, of course, Not Your Freak in 2022. Oh, I know. Now, I got the name of the movie. Suspicion, Lies, and Death by Pies. That's the name of the play. I knew it was a play. I knew it. So she did that play. And so now, as I said before, she's here. She's here with Not Your Freak. She also did a Christmas song. Did she do a Christmas song with Big Freedia? I'm not sure. But anywho, so that's where we are. And I don't want to keep this too long. I don't, because I'm about to go into another hour and I don't want to do that. And I don't think I'm going to do a part 3, or maybe I will, but there might be a part 3 to this. But she's here, is basically what I'm saying. She's here and she's doing a lot of things. Hold on for a second. Hopefully she don't mind. Let me see. Hold up. Sorry about that. You guys bear with me because I just want to promote Maxine Jones. But before I do that, let me do this. Let me go back to this. Oh gosh, yeah. If I didn't do this, I would really feel disappointed. So when I found out that she was friends, she was related to Sybil. Oh man, we got so much to cover. Oh, it's going to be a part 3. It might be 30 minutes. When I found out she was related to Sybil, I'm putting this in here just because I wanted to. I reached out to Brian, again, her business partner. And I was like, you know what? It would be so cool because I know that she had been doing some work with Fenderella. Yes, Joyce Fenderella Irby of Climax. I know that she and Maxine, not Maxine, she and Dawn had been doing some things with Joyce Irby. And I was like, oh, it would be so cool if Sybil and Maxine redid I Miss You, right? I thought it'd be so cool because you got Sybil, the queen of remake, as far as in the house, community, house as in house music community. And then you got Maxine. Like, I hope, fingers crossed, that we get a Sybil and a Maxine collaboration. And of course, she was doing some things with Joyce Irby. I'm sorry, you guys. So I'm gonna have to clean this one up, and I'll do a part 3, but just not now because I have to clean this up. I see, and make better sense of it in my head. And so I thought it would be cool for her to do that. So hopefully she'll do that song with them. So what I'm about to do now, bear with me. Just bear with me. Bear with me. Hold up. I didn't want to do this, but I think I'm going to have to. I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to have to. Okay. I think we're good. Right. Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm sorry, y'all. It's late. So if I look a mess, I just look a mess. And I don't have any lighting for this. So I'm going to share my screen, right? So what we have here is we have Maxine. Of course, this is Maxine's Instagram page. I hope it's okay to do this. I do. I just want to promote Maxine Jones. I don't want to miss anything. So of course she's promoting Maxine Jones featuring Big Freedia, Not Your Free. Go out and listen to that. It's a great song. Download it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I remember Max or Brian making a post, and I don't know all about the ins and out of how records are counted as sales and all of that stuff, because everybody is streaming and downloading things. So I'm not quite sure how that worked, but I do know that it has been streamed, and basically now they're working towards sales. So make sure that you go out and purchase this record the way in which Max can get credit for sales. That's what we want to do, sales, record sales. Now, this is her promoting Not Your Freak still. I'm going through all of this. It's her page, so I think it would be okay because this is her personal page. I'm not going to show any videos or anything because I don't have, Now, she's promoting something over there. And I think she called her followers maximizers. I think that's what she called them. But she has teamed up with Hemp and Fork. She's teamed up with them, and it's something dealing with health. I know it's like, what are you talking about? It is. So she's promoting that. So make sure you go over there to her page and learn more about that. I haven't had the opportunity, been kind of busy, so I don't know the ins and outs. So I don't want to be wrong, but she's definitely, what I like about her is that she's definitely doing what she needs to do in order to just brand herself. And that's what I like about her. As you can see, so I'm posting some of this stuff on a Facebook of Instagram page. And so it says here, Maxine will share with us a few secrets from the Maxine Jones diet, her favorite ways to enjoy hemp hearts, and tips to maximize your nutrition during the holiday season. She's a brand ambassador for this product. And what else do we have here? Well, yeah, she mentioned about having her Facebook page, hacked. So she has that back now. What else do we have here? That's more. Oh, that's an interesting fact about this one that I liked. She talked about the fact that I think she said the Billboard Award was asked us to perform and then cut their performance, but it was MC Hammer who suggested we sing our thank yous. And so that's them singing their thank yous at the Billboard Awards. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I don't want to do too much, of that. But that's just them. Hope you can see it. Hope it's, where you can see it. But anyway, I think I am going to do a part 3, but that part 3 is going to be pretty much tying up all of this, all the things that she have going on now. I really wanted to just really promote Not Your Freak by her, is what I really and truly wanted to do. So make sure that you go out and purchase that. Make sure you do that. Sorry. Like I said, it's late, y'all, so I look a mess. And I'm tired. I am. So we're back at the Sybil and uh the single. So go out, promote Maxine Jones and everything that she's doing over there. And well, don't forget to hit the like, the share, subscribe button, as well as leave a comment, about Maxine Jones and what you like about her, and her music. And, over here, tell us what you think about the new single as well. And don't forget, over here, we believe that you need to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. And you know what I'm about to say? I'm going to say, see you next video. You guys take care of yourselves out there.